Hello again. I have been watching a lot of painting videos on YouTube over the last couple of weeks while I recover from surgery, and some of them have just been stunning. There are some amazing acrylic pouring artists out there with brilliant ideas. One of them, her name is Mixed Media Girl on her channel, and she had an idea which I thought was wonderful for paintings that have already been dried and you're not quite sure what to do with. I actually quite like that one, but it's just blah. You know, there's nothing to it. It's just a bunch of colours on the canvas, even if it has got quite a bit of iridescent in it, which makes it look pretty, and it's got a lot of the violet colour, which I also love. It doesn't do it for me. So what I'm going to do today is an idea that Mixed Media Girl had, which is to coat the canvas with a pouring medium and just enough to wet it, and then do additional pouring or artwork on it to change the look of your canvas. So she did a string pour on hers, and I'm going to try a string pour on mine. The pouring medium she used was Floetrol, so I am going to do the same thing. With my paint mixes, I do tend to use PVA glue and water for my pouring medium, but I'm not sure about using that just to cover the painting for smoothness and slipperiness, so that I can then do some chain pouring over the top. So this is going to be interesting. And the other thing is, of course, I like to wear gloves. I believe that gloves protect my skin from any chemicals that may be in the paint or the Floetrol, but I prefer to do a chain pour using just my fingers because I can hold on to the pieces of chain better. So I will put the Floetrol over my painting with a scraper. Okay, so I'll start by tipping some Floetrol over the painting. I'll just start with a little at a time. I can always add more as necessary. And work it over my painting. If I end up having it running over the edges, of course, where I don't need it, I can just wait until the painting is finished and clean that off, even if I just use a cloth, a damp cloth, to remove it, because I only need the top surface of the painting to be wet for my chain pouring. I also don't need it to be too thick. Okay, that will be enough of putting that on. I don't want to waste all my time smearing it over. I could probably never get it as nicely on there as I want it. So now I am going to dip my chains into the colours that I have already prepared here, which are Reeves Paint Mid Yellow and Reno Art paint mix of gold, vermilion and orange, my own mix, which I used in my last video as well. I love that colour, and because of the colours you saw on the back of this canvas, I think those colours to do a chain pull would work out very well. So now this is going to be interesting to see what happens. I will start with my biggest piece of chain, which is around 65 centimetres long, and just dip it down into the paint. Oh, having fun doing this. Okay. There we are, that's all well dipped in. I'll find my tweezers, there they are, and tweeze my chain out of the paint. And start on the left hand side of the canvas. I will work my way round. And just leave it for a moment for some of that paint to absorb into the Floetrol and pull. Yes, that was what I was after. Excellent. Right. Last time I did a chain pull, I discovered that I actually needed a lot of water to clean off the chain, so I just turned the camera off and went off and I only had one tub, so I've got several tubs of water now all lined up here, so that I don't have to keep walking off, leaving the painting to go and change the water to clean the chains. So I'll just give that a good push around. I do make a bit of a mess, so I probably shouldn't have put quite so much water in these. That's good. I'll just get my piece of paper towel. Okay. Drop my piece of chain down here because I'm going to probably define one or two of these with small pieces of chain. So I will pop a small piece in like so and dip it down. And get it ready to pop on the picture, just to do a bit more definition around the flower. That's better. Okay. And try that again. Just to curl that. No, actually I might curl this one a little more. Just drop that down on there, curl it round and pull it down. There we are. Give that a little more colour in there. And there. Okay. Just going to use my cocktail stick to just bring that in a little. That's better, so it's not quite so obvious that I've re-gone over it again. Okay, I think I might leave the rest of those. Maybe pop a little more orange into the middle of the bottom one there, just the orange. Okay, that's better. Okay, so I've got a little bit less yellow, but that does not bother me. And do another long one. Yes. Actually, I might use the mid chain and do a couple of side ones. Okay, I'll get some yellow onto a little piece of chain. And take it up across the top of here. Just to give that a little more definition. Remembering, of course, that wherever you can see what looks like white, of course, is actually Floetrol. So you need to make sure that if you don't want that to come out looking clear, so that you can see the background behind it when it dries, you really need to cover it. Right, I will have to wash some of these chains off now and see where I'm going from here. Okay, so I have washed the chains now and got them back ready for use again. But before I go any further, if you happen to see my head pop in front of the camera, which I tend to do rather a lot, yes, I am wearing a hat. Yes, I've been wearing one quite a lot with my paint pouring lately. It is very, very cold here at the moment. Even my windows here of my art room have steamed up, so although I've still got some decent light coming through, we had a hailstorm about 20 minutes ago. That is how cold it is, and so I like to keep my heating costs down a little, and I just wear my pretty hats around the house and they stop the heat from escaping through my head, so I'm happy. Right, so I'm going to get one of my small pieces of chain and I'm going to do something with that one. Just a little bit of yellow and orange again to make that petal look more like a petal. Okay, that looks a bit better. Not over fussed on this though. I'm going to just bring that down a little. I can always wipe that off if necessary once I've finished. Now, I realised after I started with using the change that I had far too much paint on here, but that's not a problem for me, as I will just mix the two together into another container when I've finished, and I will have just a lighter orange. Right, so now I'm going to try that medium piece of chain again, and I'm going to do a flower coming down in here. Probably should have done that before I did this one, so it'll be interesting to see what happens for me. Get my tweezers, find the end of my piece of chain. Yeah, up here. Yes, that's it. Okay, I'm going to put them tighter together this time, and I may not use the whole piece of chain. And I think I'll do it from the opposite direction as well. So I'll start putting it down here. round this way. Right, and I'll use this little end piece just to bring this down a little further to the edge of that petal. There we go. Just wipe my fingers off there. Okay, so I now need to use a little piece just with a little orange on it, sorry, a little yellow on it to do that petal where the stem of that flower actually meets it, and that way it's covered. Okay, I don't want to drip it over my painting, so we go this way and just across there and down like so. Okay, get a wee clean off straight away and just see if I can ease that down that way to define the petal on that one, and use a little orange on a cocktail stick. Oh, always wary of doing this in case I do shake everything up. That's better. Just gives it a bit more definition. Yes. Okay. And I'm going to extend the sizes of these petals. I'll try and make that one merge down into that one. And I'll start up here and use a bit of the paint up here at the top, I think. Alright. Right. Get my larger length of chain out. And get another small one, as I need to fill in a little yellow into the middle of the last petal that I did. A little better. I'll just take that orange up slightly with the tip of the chain. That's better. Alright. I don't think there's much I can do about that bottom bit there. I will increase those two slightly. Okay. I have to kind of take a look back now and see exactly how I'm getting on to, yes, to see what's happening. I can already see some problems starting in those. It looks like kind of a cracking, I'm not quite sure. So this is going to be interesting to see. I'm going to actually finish it there now because it is just an experiment, and I'll leave the painting to dry, and when it's completely, well, as dry as I want it to be, I will come back and have a look at it. I'll put it up on the internet, on the YouTube, on my channel, just to see how that experiment has worked out for me. Okay, this is the next day, and the picture is pretty much dry. It has certainly changed from the original. The Floetrol has all dried on it, but the yellow has kind of faded in a little to the colour. The orange has stayed bright enough, which I expected because it had metallic gold in. But overall, I think the picture has actually come out quite well, certainly better than what I expected it to, considering the purple was such a predominant feature on the painting. So the Floetrol has dried it back to pretty much the original colours, given it a little bit more of a gloss, and of course the flowers have held up, other than if I was to do it again tomorrow I would change the yellow for white and do orange with titanium white to see what I could get from it. So yeah, that's it. I'll put some still shots in of the picture that I took as it was changing from wet to dry. And once again, thank you very much for joining me, and I'll see you next time.